What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of nftwins. Today, we're going to talk about Spotify founders Daniel Ek's latest baby called Neko Health.
Ooh, Neko Health. Well, that sounds interesting. Definitely sounds like a big impact play. All right, Mark, what is it?
All right, Neko Health is basically futuristic health scans. Think about it if Apple and, the security company at the airports had a baby together, focusing on health.
So it looks very pretty, costs a lot, and takes forever?
I was going to go for, not bad. I was more going futuristic design meets scan technology, focus on health, and it is for the masses, premium masses, early adopters.
All right. I like where this is going. In general, we've seen also other people going the direction. So, for example, Tony Robbins with his Fountain Life. For those who don't know, so Fountain Life is basically a full body scan. I think they do also blood work, Mark, if I'm not wrong.
They do everything basically. It's not just scan. They do whatever the tests are out there, but they're not owning the technology. They're just using it.
Exactly. And they are way more expensive. I think they cost a couple $1,000 but then you see like those stats, which is quite impressive. 14.4% of all members have life-threatening findings, which is crazy. So you go there, and then like 1 in 8 finds out he has a life-threatening disease, or which is crazy.
Which is fucking super cool on the other hand, because this motherfucker can be safe probably.
That's true.
Because it's preventative, right? Talking about preventative, because we're talking about preventative medicine today.
Which is important.
Exactly. Preventive medicine, we think, well, a lot of people think is the future because it prevents actually the disease or whatever is going to happen from happening, and thereby also should in the future also decrease the cost or the burden on the healthcare system, right? And also the body.
Good example. Think about a car crash, right? You rather get warned, hey, slow down, for example, in the cars, in the Distronic. If you're going too fast, like approaching the next car, sometimes the car brakes for you. And so you don't have an accident, right? And it's similar. And I imagine you had an accident, and that's basically when the life-threatening disease already happened, and now you're trying to fix it.
Better example. All right, think about it this way. The car automatically checks itself and tells you, oh my God, there's a screw loose in the wheel. Fucking fix that wheel. Let's fucking go before you have a crash.
Yeah, but
That's
thing is
what it does.
But if it's not preventive, so if it actually breaks out, you already had the accident, bro. And then
100%.
trying to fix that body, man, that's way worse than that screw or something like this.
100%. So coming back, preventative medicine. So this is super, super interesting the way they're focusing on it. The cool thing is one of these things that I saw or read about them. They were basically in stealth mode for 4 years.
Damn, that's a long time.
Yeah. So basically, they had before a clinic, was called Atrium, I think, and where they were already checking out the technology. So they were doing studies, running a couple of tests, etc. And at some point, they were also thinking of just opening more traditional clinics, where they have everything.
What exactly do they actually do, right? Because we're talking about scanning, but is it actually deep? So you're scanning the full body, so also skeleton, something, or are we talking just about skin, right?
Let me check. Let me finish. So they're thinking about all of this, doing an entire research, basically the Fountain of Life thing, right? Scanning everything, doing all the stuff, blood tests and whatnot. But they figured out, all right, we're just gonna focus on one thing, and we're gonna do the one thing fucking amazing. So they have their own proprietary technology, which just scans, but not deep scans. They have a few cameras that can go a little bit, I think, penetrate the skin, so they can do a few measures like heart rate, etc. But most of the time, I think it's focused on skin, and then they have it basically they scan your whole body, besides I think your private parts.
But technically, that must be part as well, right? Because, for example, if you have a skin disease or something like this, and it's in the
because you could have in the private parts as well, right?
Yeah,
I don't know, but it said you should come there with underwear, so I'm guessing this is that's different, which is stupid. Because think about it: if you could have skin cancer on your butt as well, or on your wiener, or whatever private parts, so I don't know. I gotta go there. I gotta check it out. So, anyways, so they do the scans basically, and then AI gives analysis of all this stuff, and they obviously save all your information for you for when you come later on. The thing is, it's preventative also, and it's also longitudinal. So that means you do year 1, year 2, 3, 4, and you see the progression. And
which
then
is
you have AI.
great.
Amazing, actually, because then you can see how the progress is. And it's not like just like a dude who's like measuring. I don't know, Lucas. We've been to a
I
fucking
think
doctor,
that's it.
skin doctor.
I think that's
How
in
does it
general
work?
one of the biggest things because you only see a point in time, not the progress. So you can't like really see whether they're growing or they're not. So I think like 10 years ago or something like this, we went to a skin doctor of maybe 7 or 8,
Mhm.
and then I just like take pictures of them partially. But yeah, that's a
And nobody
horrible.
like it's a
How
thing
to
like
find them?
yeah. There's also first of all you have to find them, then they have to measure it. And to be honest, I don't trust that technology. AI, on the other hand, is just like, hey, the scanners are always the same distance because they took it with basically a traditional camera, and then they have
Yeah.
to measure it. Super weird stuff, right? But these scanners are always the same. You stand in the same spot, and I'm sure they have it. Well, distance filters, whatever they measure it. So easy peasy.
That actually
Super
brings me
cool.
on the point. It's also really, really nice for business. Like, think about it. You want to have continuity, meaning multiple years. That means perfect for like a membership or something like this. Like, hey, I have every 6 months a scan, and then you have all your data with them, and then you probably can't transfer it to a different company. So you just like will stick with them because in the end, it's like, hey, I want to see like how they advance. Like, for example, if I have a birthmark, is it growing? Is it deforming a little bit and stuff like that?
Actually, talking about this like longitudinal, and what is so cool about this? So this is what actually jumped to mind, which I thought was fucking fascinating. So normally people spend a lot of money to do research, right?
Yeah.
Do studies. So Neko kind of flipped the coin, like flipped it on its head. Basically, they have the patients pay to be part of the study because what they do is, if you want the full body scan
Smart.
and you want the availability of everything, all the information that you got, you have to accept a waiver where they say they can use your information. Well, obviously not personal information, but like randomized, and then they could put that into their study. So thereby, they actually users are paying for the study, which then they can use to train their models, etc., to then become better and better over time, and then
Which makes
thereby
it also so important because in the end, if you have data, like just proprietary data, it makes a huge difference in it now, like
exactly they
nowadays.
build a moat. They can build a moat on
Yeah.
in that sense, and also because it's a personalized moat because they have pictures of you, scans of you a year ago. If I'm
Yeah.
going to a different, I don't know, different provider, after 4 years of being with Nico, fuck, they don't know what the fucking scan was 2 years ago. And Nico, I'm sure is not gonna give that out.
But this is one of the questions I have though. Think about it, and especially on healthcare because there's so many data protection laws. For example, in you go to one doctor right now, any other doctor, and you want to switch, you can ask to get all your information, and to get it to the new doctor. So I'm sure or certain that they will have to comply as well. Like Nico, if you think about
Yes
it,
and no, because they could give you the results, but I have to send you the pictures because they have proprietary technology in terms of the cameras and the scans. But they can
yeah.
just say, "Hey, these are the data points. Make what you want with it." Right? What are they gonna do? It's a scan. End of the day, you can give you the
Yeah.
results, but it doesn't mean
I wonder.
anything.
I wonder. I mean, I'm sure there will be certain laws because, like, in the end, it's like, yes, a scan can be different, but for example, a MRI scan, you can always just like ask for it as well, right? So,
Yeah. Also,
but
MRI.
there's
So MRI. Talking about MRI. Sorry, Lucas, for interrupting. Something also I read was super interesting that people were critiquing it a little bit because the price point is $300 to do the NICO test. Which includes a blood test and a health test.
they
Like,
do a
sorry, the
blood
scan.
test as well.
Yeah, they do this blood test as well. And one of the cool things is when something comes back positive, and then to prevent then afterwards follow-up costs, that you go to a regular doctor because they say they're not doctors. You have to go to a doctor
Of
afterwards.
course.
And then to do follow-up tests, you can do 2-3 times the same test because it doesn't cost them basically anything. It's super, super cheap. It's just like during the test, I think it's 5
If you're
minutes or whatever.
positive, just to make sure that the
Exactly.
measurements were correct.
No
And
false positives. So you
yeah,
don't have false positives. You just have positives.
yeah.
So which is cool. You can redo them multiple times, make sure this is actually not a false positive, and then you're good to go. And then also, then the cost is obviously then $2,000 is an MRI. Because MRI at the beginning was like, hey, we can do everyone have an MRI because you see everything in your body, right?
Yeah.
Everything. But super costly and super time consuming.
Also, there were some critiques that basically, I mean, there are some, I think you lay down for a few hours in it, and technically they say they scan the entire body, but to see everything, you would need to take so many pictures, and when you actually ask for the results, that not as many pictures to see so much. Maybe AI can fill some things, but there are critiques.
Oh no, but they were, because they were saying like, I do this in 5 minutes in the same amount of pictures. That's just not true.
Yeah, it's not. So that's like one of the critiques, and also I like the thing, like focus on one thing.
But not for this. Was a competitor.
No, exactly. It was neither Fountain, neither Fountain Life, nor the other one. Just heard another podcast, and I was like, oh yeah, that is kind of. But still, it's still better than nothing for sure. Actually, this brings me to the overall scheme, because we think about now we're seeing AI everywhere. Actually, we talked a year ago in episode 20 about AI in health, and that also brings me to another one, which is also about preventive and how AI can help, like making scans better, right? So, for example, Lunit Insights. So they actually already FDA 510K cleared. That means they already they can be already used to basically pre-market submission, and that they are basically on the way to be equivalent or better product than current products that are out there, which is great. So basically what they're doing is they help. So if you have a scan, for example, breast cancer, stuff like this, it helps them to make the predictions better. So for example, it helps increase the diagnostics by 5% with AI, and of course, and fatty breast cancer by 12%. So that's like, it can see that how AI is actually helping it to improve results, right? Because in the end, you will want to have always one person to check for like other stuff, right? So which is really, really nice. And I think this is perfectly going into that direction of AI in preventive checks or in regular checkups, that it's getting more and more introduced, and also can be seen as a helper and making things more affordable for people.
100%, because AI is really good for things that you can feed a lot of data, and that's what it is, right? Like recognizing patterns, etc. And one thing, Lucas, this is a business podcast, so let's talk about some freaking numbers. What's the business model? What's the business model? How much have they raised? What series was it? And yeah, let's fucking go.
All right, so go ahead. No, I mean, Lunit is already older. They were raised. I think they were raised over $500 million already. So, and they are, I think, 10 years old. So they are much, much, much older. But it's crazy to see that they are now also going to AI.
Let's compare to Neko Health. Neko Health is now a year old, and they just took in their first round of funding. They directly started with a Series A, and this was $60 million Series A. That's a big money.
No, they're making money right now, right?
No, they're making money because they have already in London one and in Stockholm, I think. And these are completely booked up. You can't even get it. You have to go on a wait list to actually get a scan, which is insane. And then you can, I just checked it out. Also, you can go on a wait list, and then I think you can see, hey, come to my city, whatever. It's pretty cool. So they are making bank. Well, sorry, not yet, but the 60 million is probably hoping for massive expansion, etc. And I think they're going to have a market cap. I think they can reach $1 billion for sure.
Mark, you know what it just reminded me of? Like, what? First of all, this is crazy, but it reminded me of the other day when we were talking about body measurements, right? In a van. Like, you could put
yes.
You could put these things in a van or something like this in the future, and then you can just drive it around. Right?
That was the body fat measurement, right?
Yeah, the body fat measurement. So just think about it, that you can basically have that in a van and then just like drive around cities and stuff like this. Of course, these machines are super expensive, but in the future, I could see that.
Well, it's the technology behind it, right? It's also the algorithm. I think it's just like, not like the other scan where it tells you, all right, what number? 40% body fat or whatever. So, but it's definitely cool. I think I like the idea a lot, because preventive medicine is one of the things that will be bigger and bigger in the future and will help us to also live longer. And I want to take one of these tests Because I think it's
for
a pain in the ass right now to get these done, and you never know what is included, what not.
Yeah.
Here in Spain, some of the blood tests, you're like, I want to have please hormones as well, and they're like, sure. And you get results back. What the fuck are my hormones, bro?
It's like Mark and I we want to test, want to check out our testosterone levels. Go to the same doctor. Blood tests. They go to different laboratories. And even though we all testosterone, Mark got his results. I didn't. I was like, what the hell?
I'm special, like my mama always told me.
Oh, yeah. And also, your grandma always told you handsome. So, yeah. Luckily, most of the audience are listening to us because, man, that is not pretty to see.
100% agree. I mean,
all right, Mike, 3 takeaways. Come on, give me the 3 takeaways. And what are we seeing in the future?
Honestly, I think it's fucking fascinating because they can use this technology to have more research. They can fund research this way, which will make their technology better, which will make a lot of people's lives better because this is focused on, well, right now, early adopters. But $300 price point, I think, is not crazy. I think a lot of people will be able to afford it once a year. And maybe at some point in the future, even healthcare providers might hop on the train and fucking pay at least half of it for something for it.
Also, if you think about it, my takeaway is just think about how many like birthmarks you have on places you don't even know. And then like, when do you actually go to a doctor, right? Because then you're like, oh man, I have to go there and then I'll take off all my clothes and then it's gonna be a little bit awkward. You don't know, like it takes forever. And then there you could just get the scan, get the blood test, and you cover way more in one session, which I think is really, really nice.
Instant results, they say, well, like within a day, I'm guessing, or something. You get the results. But it's cool. That's already faster than
I like it a lot.
I like it. Everybody. I think it's have a lot of potential.
I like it as well. And maybe we see them in a van in the future. You never know.
I would not get the scan like there. Blood test.
You're just like completely naked there.
Like says free candy on the side.
All right, everybody. If you like the podcast, please subscribe, give us a like, and of course, leave us in the comments your thoughts. And if not, catch you, of course, in the next one. Peace.